Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Healing Hormones and Holy Shit, where your hosts are completely unhinged and we go off the rails on a regular basis. Today, all of our brain tabs are open all the time, all of the tabs. So, Gina, what's going on today?
Life's a balancing act, so it aligns perfectly with open tabs. There's
Ain't
way
that
too
the
many of
truth,
them.
man?
Yeah, there's
I
way
know
too
you,
many of them available.
yeah, I know you've been working on your book series. I've been working on my extra books. I know you've got your dad to take care of. You've got work. I've got all my stuff going on. So, man, the tabs are tabbing, aren't they?
That I would state is an understatement. Because it's not just the tabs, because each tab has subtabs.
Oh my God, you're not kidding.
And then the
And
subtabs
then
have
there's a
subtabs.
tab somewhere with a goat screaming in the background that I can't find.
I don't have the goat. Well, the goat I would probably say would be my dad because he's always hollering for something in the background.
Yeah, that's your dad screaming in the living room.
Yeah, yeah, accurate point right there. Yes. The trying to keep track of everything, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you have a calendar because I can have a calendar on the wall. And initially, sorry, the first month or 2 of whatever calendar that I place, I attend to it, you know?
Yep.
Texts come in with appointments, phone calls with appointments, whatever, I put it on the calendar. Great reference point. They've been utilized for how long in the format which we're familiar? Okay. Can't use a phone calendar because I'm technologically inept.
Okay.
I just can't do that, and then I can't s when I've tried it, I set it up wrong, apparently, because it'll, like, notify me an hour prior to whatever the thing that I need to be doing is, and by that time, I'm solely
Mhm.
invested in something else, and I could be 20 miles away from where I need to be, apparently. So that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I end up 2 months filled in on a calendar that I spend money on, whether it's at the dollar store or something that sparked my eye. Perfect intention. 2 months of it gets filled in, maybe a portion here or there, but I never reference it back after that. Never.
Oh,
So that's kind of like the brain tabs. They live, they exist. I know they're there. I know something needs to be done within each tab. It's done.
no. And I think that's where we need to reference our little mental sticky notes. Those get lost too.
They fall off the wall.
Yeah, because 3M adhesive on the sticky notes is not as sticky as it used to be.
Mm-mm.
They changed it somewhere along the way. So they don't stick like they used to. They fall down.
It's called old age.
Well, yeah. But no, those the sticky on the sticky now, I'm telling you. Tell me if
I
I'm
don't
wrong.
doubt that. I don't doubt that. I understand when you're talking about from a literal sense. I'm just talking about from our brain perspective.
From a brain perspective, you
It's
could
just old
nail
age.
that shit to the inside of my brain and it would fall down 5 seconds later.
Well, and part of it too is that there is a level of familiarity that comes with Post-it notes, things that you magnetize to the front of your refrigerator, calendars.
Yep.
You just become accustomed to their presence as in a space taker.
Yeah.
You no longer at some point pay attention to the message on the Post-it note. It's just
No,
something
because
there.
it's there all the time and you're
Right.
used to seeing it. What's that the phrase that's object permanence, where we tend to forget things that aren't there, but the same thing goes for things that are there all the time.
Precisely. That's why
So,
if a piece of furniture gets moved and your brain automatically has already registered a straight path, if something's in your way, you're going to trip over it automatically because you're not consciously thinking about that object being in a different position.
exactly.
Because it's if something is always where it's supposed to be, you just forget it exists, for a lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of our neurospicy viewers are going to really, really, really identify with that, because the normies, as I like to call them, they may understand that a little bit because even normal folks, if they move something that's been there forever, they're going to stub their toe because it's been moved. It's not in the normal place. But us neurospicy folks, you move something on us, it messes up our whole year.
Well, and not to correct per se, but it's not that some people are normal because really normal is a relevant term. It's a matter of perspective
Okay,
rather than statement.
non-neurospicy.
Yes,
Let me be more PC.
neurotypical. You
Neurotypical.
know, the typical brain doesn't think like ours. And I just meant that because it's like normal is a relative term because really what is the now I'm going to go off the rails. I'm taking a rabbit hole.
Go
I
for it.
notice it, but it's going. I'm digging down. I'm digging down. But seriously, what was the basis of normal? Who set the normal tone? What does that even look like? Because if you look at a group of people, a room full of people, which one of those has set the tone for the expectation or normalcy in that space?
Right.
So I'm getting way too philosophical and
No,
psychological.
you're not. Because really what is normal? What is average? And I think, and this is my take on it. I think when they took their status quo group of people and they said, we're going to base it on the average IQ. We're going to take, this group of people and we're going to test them. And here's the average IQ. Here is the average performance based on this test, on this test, on this test, on this test. This is how the average person acts in this situation. This is how the average person acts in this situation, and so on and so forth. So that's where they get the normal, the average.
I think I'm going to take it a step deeper because that's what I do.
That's what we do.
I think it's based more on who carries the most desirable traits.
Ooh, I like that.
Because, of course, I would fall into the less desirable category, not by physical appearance. I'm not talking physical looks. I'm
No,
talking
behavioral.
behaviorally because one, I'm going to question the shit out of absolutely everything. That is not something that the world at large respects or wants because I ruffle the feathers. And two, I speak my mind. I don't
Yeah.
speak my mind to be rude. I don't speak my mind to be crude or disruptive or hurt somebody's feelings. And, a lot of people will hide behind well, I'm just blunt because I'm autistic. Yes, that is very true. That tends to hold through a variant of the whole entire spectrum at different levels. Where I am, the honesty takes prevalence. I am direct and straightforward, but not in a rude or disruptive manner. However, majority of neurotypicals will take that and because of a pre-confirmation bias within the natural existing world, they misconstrue intent because
Yes.
I go more into detail when the average bear, so to speak, prefers surface level.
Right.
Surface level, I can't do. Shallow, I can't do.
No, you don't do small
Softening,
talk.
no. Softening a blow, um, in a manner of kind of like grazing the surface of an issue, but not wanting to create a bigger problem or make that person feel bad. It's not that I want to make somebody feel bad.
No.
That's not my intention. My intention is also not to fix anyone into my little box of the world. I'm not going to fluff somebody's ass for them and make them feel better about something that they've done simply to salvage their ego or reputation or whatever the normal world is more inclined to do. I'm
Right.
just more, hey, this is the shit, and that's what you did, and I didn't like it. And how that comes out is not nasty, but it's direct, it's truthful, and it's straightforward. And a majority of people do not know how to swallow that pill.
No, and that's how the neurospicy work. We dive deep into subjects. We think things way farther through than the average bear.
Mhm.
And that's just the way it is with us. We don't do small talk. We don't do fluff.
Mm-mm.
And the
It
societal
it's
norm just looks at us strangely. And I say
it
and
and
I
it
say, "You know
what
what? Fuck 'em all."
well, that's a very true statement, but, I think what a lot of people don't understand is the confusion doesn't just lie in the translation from the neurospicy to the neurotypical. I think we in where we lie on the spectrum. Let me clarify that because not everyone on these spectrums falls on the same platform.
No,
It's
we're in a
just
very specific point.
yes. And for us, though, we are able to see things from another person's perspective because
Yes.
society has trained us. We have observed these things. We are observational people. We have learned behavior patterns. Not that they're
Yes.
innate, something we've been born with, but we have learned them in order to simulate ourselves into this neurotypical society, and we can grasp the expectation of us better than other people in different levels on the spectrum. So
Right.
we are able to understand the concept, not the follow through necessarily, but the concept behind a neurotypical relationship.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
We sense, okay, small talk is something that neurotypicals do. If we want to engage with neurotypicals, then there has to be a mask that we put on in order to engage appropriately. Because
Right,
appropriate
exactly.
is one of those things that we actively have to practice. Not that our existence in and of itself is inappropriate, but for the world at large, it's jarring.
It's fitting into society.
It is. It's
Yeah.
making our lives easier, not trying to water ourselves down to make ourselves more palatable for other people. It's because it creates an ease of movement. It doesn't remove authenticity because the
No,
things are still said. The things are still said. The shit comes out of my mouth. You know, I don't have the face that naturally adjusts to the conversation. You have more of that than I do. You're sitting there grinning right now. You're express you have
yeah.
more facial expression according to the topic or what it is you're saying.
Well, part of that is I've trained myself to not have resting bitch face because I can feel it coming on. I can feel my face sinking.
My face is just stuck here.
Well,
Like,
I've
bruh,
been in
this is
so
it.
many meetings and so many conferences where I caught my face in a reflection or I caught the reaction from someone that was speaking that was looking at me and saw their reaction and realized my face was in the format.
Like this.
So I've trained myself when teaching or when in a conference or a Zoom call or whatever, that when I feel my face sinking, I perk up a little. And that's been years of that. That's not necessarily just a societal thing. That is something I wanted to do for myself so I didn't have that RBF all the time. And it's a
I've
hard
always been
thing to
told,
do.
wipe the scowl off your face. Why do you always look so mad? Why are like it's registered in the tabs, like, oh hey, this is something that apparently my face offends other people. Really, is particularly where I'm at in life now, I really give zero fucks about that because if
Right.
somebody takes the time to speak to me, what my face is doing or not doing during that conversation actually becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I've got dogs out here, I've got motorcycles
You are
driving
surrounded by
by.
all the puppies. Yeah.
I am just surrounded by chaos. But I think at the root of it is every single one of us, typical, spicy, however you wish to describe it, we're all operating these days on overload. Just
Yep.
various reasons. And we're all going to process our tabs differently. And
Oh, yeah.
that runs the gamut because everything we do in life is based on prior programming
Yep.
until we recognize our patterns or, where things, if we dive deep enough within ourselves, which a lot of people don't,
True.
to notice the wiring, the patterns, what works, what doesn't work. Even you and I, how many years did we live on a frickin' hamster wheel going absolutely nowhere, repeating the same fucking patterns that did not work? You don't have to be neurospicy for
40
that to
something
happen.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have that is not something that falls solely on a neurospicy person. Neurotypical people do it every single day. We recognize it.
Yeah.
We log it in our tabs, but still, it typically will take a very jarring instance in our life for us to go back to that tab. And what did we talk about earlier? The sub tabs that are then created underneath the main tab, those then require evaluation and they open
Yeah.
up more sub tabs. And so we have a whole
Yep.
fucking tree under one tab. All you see is 10 million tabs open. But really, underneath all of that, there's probably about 450 million tabs.
Oh, yeah. And people wonder why, whether you're neurotypical or neurospicy, why all of a sudden you have this crash and you have this
Right.
slowdown of your system.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because all the
Because
freaking tabs
it
open.
just shows up differently in neurospices versus neurotypicals. In
Yeah.
neurotypical people, it's like midlife crisis, complete and total mental breakdown. Yeah,
Panic
which can
attack.
occur also in neurospicy people, but it's more of a
Yeah.
burnout.
Yeah.
So
Burnout, panic attacks, all kinds of stuff.
I have watched so many neurotypical people throughout my life completely burn their life to the ground in a tailspin because they've attempted to handle too many tabs at once. I mean, literally burn their life to the ground with rash decisions, impulsivity, things of that nature, decision making that if they were grounded and centered in their life, these aren't stupid people, but you just hit that capacity of overload where you just start scratching at the door and until your knuckles are bloody, just trying to
Yeah.
escape. And I think where we're kind of circling in this conversation leads to, okay, we know we have all these browsers open. We know the subtitles. We know the subcategories. We know all of those things. Now, how do we ground ourselves in the present moment? Choose which tabs are of top priority and not manage to overwork, overthink, or forget the tabs that have to temporarily be on the back burner. And I'm kind of drawing out of my
Well, and I
book
think part of
series
it
here.
too oh, yeah, and I think part of it too is knowing that it's completely okay to go through and just freaking close out of some of them tabs.
Yeah, some of them are not necessary. They are self-created misery.
Oh, yeah, because I have personally gone through recently and just said, "You know what? Screw it. I don't need this, this,
Mhm.
this, and this," and just closed out and said, "Forget this crap. I can just continue on and I don't need that music playing. I don't need this waiting. I can recreate that later or whatever it is
Right.
and just get rid of it."
Yeah. But are you getting rid of it or are you subcat now the music, yes, you can close out the music tab. But you said a very specific point there. I can revisit it later. So that's not really closing out the tab per se. It's just repositioning
I'm
the
saying
tab.
well, I'm saying is that, things I'm talking about things like, okay, let's say, and I know you're guilty of this too.
I'm probably
When
guilty of
you
a whole lot of
save,
shit.
right, we're guilty of a lot of things. That's a whole other podcast. But I am very guilty of screenshotting randomness, pictures I like, recipes, quotes, and the list goes on.
Mhm.
And my all of a sudden my screenshot folder is filled with just complete BS. And
Right.
I'll go through and I'll go to upload something to TikTok and all of a sudden I've got to scroll through all this crap to find the inspirational post I need to put on my other platform or that picture of you and me that I need for this reel or something for, the podcast TikTok. And it's like, what am I doing with all this stuff? And then I
Yeah.
have to go through and I'm like, I'm never going to cook that recipe. I'm never going to post that inspirational thing or record it or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
a good
great and it's
metaphor for
wonderful,
the
but I'm
junk.
never gonna do that,
Okay, I'm sealing
you know?
myself in because bees are attracted to me. I've got bees flying around my
Bees
yard.
are
I'm not
You
giving
have
them an
bees.
opportunity. Yes, there's bees.
That's because 'cause you're
And
so
I see a
sweet.
hummingbird. What's that?
It's because 'cause you're so sweet.
I highly doubt that that's I think it's I mean, I'm
See, I'm
just
trying to
saying.
trying to convince our
Mm.
audience that we flip-flop on days and that you're the good one and I'm the evil one sometimes.
I think either one of us are good or evil. I think we just simply are. And whatever circumstance we're in requires whatever version appears.
Very true. That's very
Okay, we
true. I
we
just hope that the chaotic evil version of us never appears at the exact same time.
yeah, that probably wouldn't bode well for the entirety of society. But
No.
trying to rein us back into where we were and what you were saying in regards to, the screenshotting and everything else. I think
But yes,
more than likely in
sometimes
today's society, everybody does that. We are all guilty of that. But the key, just like the
right.
tabs, is paring it back, like you were talking about, paring it back to a manageable level, choosing those topics, those pictures, those whatever that are most important, and then organizing things, thoughts, tabs, whatever, into manageable
Yep.
sections. And that is where majority of overwhelm comes. Now I'll tell you right now, personal experience from this morning. I have 5 manuscripts, 5.
Yep.
I have several other working pieces. So 5 are completed, but several other working pieces. And I sat down and I looked at all of my folders, each containing bits and pieces of whether it's completed or uncompleted. But I had to sit there for hours, hours, putting chapters into specific book folders, realigning everything into a systematic order that made sense in my brain because what I was looking at was basically word vomit. I didn't have to change anything, but
Yeah.
I had to put it into systematic categories. And the initial overwhelm of just looking at what I had to do made me want to tuck my tail and run as far as my 52-year-old body would take me. So I had to stop. I had to
Yeah.
regroup my brain. I just had to say, okay, here are all these chunks. Let's break them into their individual chunks. Instead of looking at this as one thing, let's break it down. And then I created the subcategories that were manageable subcategories. And when we connected today, I finally hit that point where at least one of the books had hit its own folder. Perfect timing for
Yeah.
me to step away, focus on something else, have a conversation, drink my water outside of the environment that I was working, so that when I go back in there, which I inevitably will have to do, not saying I'm looking forward to it, but the work will have to be completed. So now I can start in on the next book project step, and organizing that. And
Right.
our tendency as people, I don't care what people, I don't care what culture, I don't care what country, we want everything done right at this moment because the thought and the feeling that comes with that overwhelm, because it comes with a feeling as well, just makes you just not want to deal with it at all. And with the brain of
Yeah.
autism and ADHD, we're always at a constant battle in there anyway. We can either hyperfixate on something or ain't nothing sticking like them damn post-it notes. They're just
That's true.
flying all over in the wind. So we've got both conflicting going at the same time. Worldwide, we are all in a state of overwhelm, and you can feel it. You can feel it in the energy on the earth itself. You walk outside your door and you feel, if you pay attention, if you stay in your body, which is something I'm learning to do and not just
Yeah.
dissociate, you feel what's going on in the world. And it is chaos because everybody's tabs are open, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And we need to learn to pull ourselves back into the moment and breathe. And I think that's why I appreciate San Diego so much for me. I know some people may
Yeah.
go to San Diego and they may feel an entirely different experience. I understand that. I get a very similar sensation in Sedona in Arizona here with the Red Rocks.
Yeah.
There is a energy
It's
that
an
I'm
emotional
able
reset for you.
yes, it's an energy that I'm able to exhale because
Yeah.
it doesn't seem even though San Diego is a big, bustling city, the area in which I inhabit when I'm there, it is just so chill and laid back, and
It really is.
everybody seems so relaxed, and not saying that they lack focus, not saying that they're not doing things, not saying that they're not busy, but I think the approach is different. They
Yeah.
take the time to soak in the beauty around them, the ocean coming in and out. In Sedona, just the energy that comes off those red rocks. And I
Oh,
don't
it's
know how many
amazing.
of our viewers have ever been to Sedona. I don't know how many viewers are in or understand an energetic perspective or are able to accurately depict their experiences as such because everything we're experiencing is energy. But we've all got to learn how to condense our browser tabs, close out those browser tabs that no longer serve us, and remain more in the present moment inside of our bodies with our thoughts, those scary sons of bitches that make us frazzled in the first place. Sit with it, dial it down,
Yeah.
pare back our saved recipes, our saved pictures, our saved inspirational quotes because it just gets lost in the shuffle. Find the priorities,
Yeah.
prioritize what's important, and at times you just have to let go of what's left.
That's
That
right.
is my TED Talk for the day.
And we love your TED Talks. We absolutely love when you step on the soapbox, Gina.
And not only am
But it
I the
was
nap
perfect
queen, I'm
timing,
the
though.
soapbox,
That's right.
I
The nap
suppose.
queen and the soapbox queen.
Yeah.
But it's perfect timing, though, because we're going to wrap it up. So I want everybody to remember that although we may have the 1001 tabs open, like Gina said, remember to pare them down once in a while and keep what's important, organize, and just get rid of the rest. Don't let it slow down your system. Whether you are neurotypical or neurospicy and extra fun like us. And, hope will join us again next time. We have some surprises coming up very soon. So stay tuned, guys, and tune in next time.
Be easy.
Peace out.